What's going on, everyone from LowKick MMA? My name is Dan Podolsky, and I'm joined with Jimmy the Brick Flick, coming off his second round submission win over Malcolm Gordon at UFC 297. Jimmy, thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh, most definitely. Thanks for bringing me on, man.
First off, how are you recovering after that fight? And now that you've had kind of a few days to, I guess, take in this weekend's results, how are you feeling?
Hey, man, I'm feeling amazing. It's been great, a good welcome back home here in Sand Springs, Oklahoma. Just love going out and about and getting noticed by everybody, wanting to take pictures and just really taking it all in and just excited to see what's next with the UFC.
What's it been like, sort of the feedback you've gotten the last week since your fight happened?
Oh man, just a lot of really good feedback. Not too much negative, just a little, a few haters here and there. But outside of that, it's been really great, man. I mean, we overcame a lot in the camp, overcame a lot in the fight, and just goes to show, just never give up. And we already got, never give up, and we got an opportunity to make something happen.
You talk about overcoming adversity in that fight, and I think that's kind of become a mantra of your career in a way. But how hurt were you in that first when you had to get kind of laying down some shots?
Actually, I've rewatched the fight multiple times, and there's one time it looked like I was wobbled, and actually, I don't recall being hurt at all. I mean, I felt all the shots, of course, but the whole game plan was to stay as calm as possible, especially fighting in front of that many fans. And I really knew with the weight miss and then him fighting in front of his home crowd, he was going to get very, very excited, and he was going to come out aggressive. And we knew he was going to blow his wad early, and wasn't what I was relying on, but it's kind of what worked.
So you talk about being in front of the fans. First of all, how was it just being in front of a crowd after your first three UFC fights were all at the Apex?
Yeah, it was so amazing, and it was so nerve wracking at the same time. The day of leading up, I had never been so nervous with everything that was happening. And, my last fight on my contract, Malcolm missed some weight, everything in my personal life, and just wanting to stay in the UFC, needing a win. I was so nervous until I finally made that walk. And when I made that walk, it was like I was at home, and I was happy to be there. And it was an experience that I've always wanted, and it was everything I thought it was going to be.
You mentioned making that walk, but the fans were kind of booing you a little bit. How was that?
Oh man, it got worse than booing. All I can say is if you listen between round one and two, there was a pretty awful chant they had going on, But we we silenced them up in round two, and then even after I got on the mic, I got a few of them behind me, so it was really cool, man.
What's that feeling like, kind of, shutting up a crowd that's been booing you all week and definitely in this fight was booing you?
Oh, it was great, man. And they actually threw me off at weigh-ins. If you listen at ceremonial weigh-ins, like they were cheering for me. I didn't really have no hate. So I was like, maybe tomorrow's not going to be so bad. But no, as soon as I hit that tunnel, they were letting me know that they weren't happy about me being there.
And coming off that win, right? A much needed win for your career, and it puts you back where you're no longer kind of being fed to a lot of these up and comers, but you kind of have the chance now to call out your shot. A, is there anyone you want to see next? But like B, what does 2024 look like for Jimmy the Brick Flick?
Man, as long as I got the new contract, that was the main thing. And I did call out Cody Durden. Mainly Cody's been pushing my name a lot. He kind of pulled away, did really good in his career. So thought maybe, throwing his name out there is pretty good. Uh, Probably might not get that yet, but I think later down the road, it'll actually be a better story if me and Cody are both ranked and we do rematch. So hopefully, we got new up and comers coming up. We have fighters on their way out. You have undefeated fighters. So it's kind of on what the UFC wants to do. Me being 2-2 kind of lets them do whatever they want. If they want to feed me to the wolves and see what happens, or if they want me to fight these up and comers, guys on new contracts, or maybe some people that are on their way out, and let's see if we can send them on their way. So, that's what we did with Malcolm. So it's kind of on the UFC. I'm just waiting for that new UFC contract and gonna stay ready and hopefully see what we get next.
Did they confirm give you that new contract?
I mean, all I got so far was Dana White's comment where the reporter asked if they would re-sign me, and he said absolutely. I talked to Mick Maynor at the hotel after, and he seemed to act like yes, I would be getting a new contract. So nothing's ever guaranteed in the sport. So just keeping my hopes up, and I believe I performed well enough to get a new contract, and I believe I'll get it.
Awesome. And yeah, absolutely. Coming off a win like that, you deserve that new contract. And it's got to be nice too. That's your first win since 2020. And it's got to be a little bit, tell me if I'm wrong, but it's got to be a little bit of like a sigh of relief knowing that, you retired for a little bit, knowing like, okay, I can still do this. I can still pick up wins at the highest level.
Yeah, most definitely. A loss there, that would have been three in a row and might have got kicked out of the UFC. It was really, that's what I mean. When I went into this fight with a lot, like from, like I said, mentally what I was going through, the fight career coming back off retirement. Also, if I lost this fight, was coming back even worth it. So I really did need this win. And it really opened my eyes up to where I belong in the UFC. And I know I belong. And I'm just hoping they bring me around more fans. I really fed off the crowd. I see that the UFC will see that I fed off the crowd, and I gave back what they gave me. And it was a great turnout.
You talked about the reception that you got once you came back to Oklahoma. The UFC's been looking to travel. Are you hoping they bring a card to Oklahoma City?
Yes, man. Actually, 2020, right before COVID hit, they were supposed to come to Oklahoma City. I had just got a big win, but my win streak wasn't like high enough. Like, so the chances for me to get on that card was very slim. And then COVID canceled it. So that was in 2020. I don't even think they've been here since like 2013. The last time they were here was when Rafael Dos Anjos fought Ben Henderson in the main event. So yeah, I think it was like 2013. So it's been well over 10 years. I know I'm the only male UFC fighter out of the state of Oklahoma that fights out of Oklahoma. And then we have two females. So we have three fighters in the state of Oklahoma. It'd be a dream come true to get them to come back to Tulsa or even Oklahoma City.
If not in Oklahoma, are you hoping to get on a card? They've gone to Texas a lot over the past few years. Are you hoping to fight there?
Yeah, I'd love to fight in Texas as well. That's where I started my career. I mean, I got my black belt in Corpus Christi, Texas. All my amateur fights were in Texas, and a lot of my pro fights were in Texas.
And so for this fight, after Malcolm Gordon announced his retirement from the sport, any thoughts on that? And were you at all upset that he missed the weight? Was there any animosity between you two?
No animosity. I mean, I was disappointed because I mean my career was on the line, but I told myself, I knew that the loser of this fight, was most likely getting cut. So most likely, I had debated if I lost, if I was going to retire too. So it doesn't shock me that he retired, especially after the weight miss. And he missed in his fight before this, and he was 2-4 in the UFC. He's 2-5 now. He's lost his last three, been finished in all of them, missed weight twice. So his retirement wasn't shocking. There was no animosity at all. I was disappointed, but Canada took 15% on taxes. So Malcolm basically covered my taxes with him missing weight. So it actually evened out for me.
Fair enough. And then I gotta ask, because your dad was not in the corner for this fight, but that obviously was the original reason for your retirement. Are you hoping to get him back in that corner for your next fight? And what was his reception after that win?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And what a lot of people were like, oh, he can't afford to take his dad. Well, y'all got to take into consideration, like, I would have had to get my dad's passport. I would have had to pay to expedite it to get it in time, pay the travel, pay everything, like, to make it all happen. Like, it wasn't like impossible, but no, I didn't have an extra 1,500 to 2 grand when my job was in jeopardy. So I didn't have the money to invest right now to make sure. The main thing was to go and take care of business. So, and he didn't know that he was going to get the gloves. So everybody at the watch party said it was a real tear jerker, and he was really excited. So um, everything was accomplished on this trip. And I'm more than likely, as long as we are not out of country, yes, my dad will be there.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure he must have been proud. And Jimmy, that was an awesome comeback. Congrats to you, my friend. Jimmy, if there's any socials, people you want to shout out, floor is yours. Go right ahead.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Yeah, and I just appreciate all the support, all the good feedback. If you haven't, please follow my fan page, Jimmy the Brick Flick, on Facebook, my personal page. I can't okay no more friends. You can follow me on Instagram at the Brick MMA, at TikTok at the Brick MMA. I'm even on X at Jimmy Flick. Give a shout out to all my sponsors, as always. Harvest Health Dispensary, Tulsa Sport Acupuncture, Minuteman Plumbing of Tulsa, International Crematory Service, Industrial Motor Services, the Broadway Barbershop, the Parlor Hair and Ink, Inkwell Printing, HKA USA, Forza Combat Sports and Broken Arrow, GG2 Sports and Card Show, Vista Pools and Outdoor Living, MAJ Mafia, my lawyer, Palmer Law, and my boy Micah Stockton, my insurance broker. If it wasn't for all you sponsors, I wouldn't be able to do this. I really appreciate you. And hey, I appreciate you bringing me on for this interview as well, man.
Of course, Jimmy, thank you so much for taking the time. Guys, Jimmy Flick coming off that incredible second round comeback submission win over Malcolm Gordon. Jimmy, thank you so much for taking the time. Can't wait to see you back in the octagon.
All right, thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.